I've created a simple multi-instrument here by dragging a second instrument onto an existing one and choosing the combine function where I get these two, and I have separate parameters for each here. I have a different volume for this instance, and we can set ranges and transpose values uniquely, as well as panning and other things. This is what it sounds like. And I programmed up a simple part. And I want to look at some editing functions in the edit window here in the piano view. Now, to start with, when we're working with the pencil tool, when we click on this triangle, we have a transform tool that we can use, and that's great for scaling velocities. Now, I'm going to resize this so we can see them a bit higher, and I can just grab across and select. I'm just going to grab that range of them, and we have handles that we can use to grab to create different curves. Like, for example, maybe I want to scale them like that. I release the mouse and they're all scaled like that. We'll start from quieter and get to louder. And while it's still selected, I can scale it from the other end. I can scale it more, or I can go in the opposite direction. Let's bring them down so maybe they get quieter towards the end. Something like that. And I can offset the whole range like that. So lots of powerful velocity transform functions with this. So let's bring them back up. I'll leave them roughly like that. And I'm going to zoom a little bit. Another common thing, and simple but common, is just to use this editor to mute notes. And we can easily do that with the mute tool, where we can click on notes and just mute them like that. And with the arrow tool, we can select notes and just hit Shift M, and that'll mute them as well. And same thing works in the arrange view. If you click a part, I can go Shift M and just mute it like that. But here I'll leave it active. So a quick and simple way to mute individual notes, let's go back to this part right here, is just that and Shift M or use the mute tool. And we can easily transpose a range of notes. Let's say I'll just select those to begin with. Some of them are muted. And we can right click on the note or use the action menu. And then from here, we can get to transpose, where we have a fairly intuitive dialog box here where we can select by octaves or by simple transpose amounts. And we can set everything to a specific note as we want as well. Let's hear what that sounds like. You can see them jump to the new values. Now, one of the main advantages of editing in the piano view like this is that you can edit only specific notes. In the arrange view, we're dealing with an entire event, but here, let's say I want to change the timing of just these selected notes. I can open up the quantize panel, and then with this enabled, which is automatically quantize selected notes, I can change the values even while it's playing and hear the changes in real time. Kind of interesting, and let's add maybe a septuplet to that, or change it to septuplet. And then it jumps back to regular timing. So very interesting to experiment. And there's a lot of quantize related functions in the action menu here. We can quantize from there, quantize by 15%. We can freeze the quantize, and humanize is interesting, where we get a box that comes up where we can randomize within certain percentages the velocity, high and low range, and then note start range. So we can play with the timing to get a little bit more of a looser feel. If it's right on with the grid, this will add a bit of random variation. I'll hit OK, and you'll see they all shifted slightly, both in terms of velocity and note length and start position. And don't worry about taking chances and trying things and them not working out. You can always use the action menu or the right-click menu to restore the original timing. And if you prefer to edit things numerically, you can select one or more notes, and we have the music editor inspector here. And here we can precisely set the exact timing, the start and end positions and length. We can use the mouse wheel to scroll in the selected field. You see I'm moving it in very fine increments like that, just using my mouse wheel. Same thing with the length, the end. I can lengthen it or shorten it. So very powerful. We can change the pitch here to the velocity. We can even mute the notes here. And I want to draw your attention to a nice new Studio One 5 feature. When we're working with part automation, we have this new function that, when enabled, will select part automation with the notes. So when we select notes to copy or delete or move them, the part automation will follow. We'll continue with more in the next video.